Let me ask you something. What if one of the most powerful anti-war books ever written wasn't by some politician or a pacifist, but by one of the most decorated military heroes in American history? Well, today, we're going to unpack the explosive 1935 classic, War is a Racket.
I mean, just listen to this. It's a jaw-dropping confession from the author himself. Can you imagine a top general, a national hero, not just critiquing war, but calling himself a racketeer for capitalism? This is the story of how that very hero became the ultimate whistleblower.
And just to be clear, this wasn't some disgruntled low-level guy. Smedley Butler was an absolute legend, twice awarded the Medal of Honor, the most decorated Marine of his day. It's that impeccable service record that makes what he had to say so powerful, and frankly so dangerous to the establishment.
So what was his main point? Well, it all boils down to this, the racket. And for him, that was a clear conflict between profits and people.
Okay, so first, we've got to get on the same page about what Butler even meant by racket. For him, it wasn't just, something illegal. It was any system where a tiny inside group gets rich from the suffering of everyone else. He literally took a term from the mob and pointed it right at the business of war.
So what did this inside group get out of it? Well, Butler points out that during World War I alone, the U.S. minted 21,000 new millionaires and billionaires. And in his view, this wasn't some happy accident of the war. No, this was the whole point.
And if you want to see just how massive this was, just look at a company like DuPont. Their average yearly profit before the war, about $6 million. During the war years, it exploded to $58 million. That's a 950% increase. This wasn't just good business. This was a gold rush fueled by bullets and bombs.
All this incredible wealth, it had to come from somewhere, right? So who was really footing the bill?
Butler's answer is, well, it's grim and it's direct. The price is paid in human lives, in shattered families, and economic ruin for almost everyone else. He's basically arguing that the true cost of war gets hidden behind flags and slogans. But the gravestones and the hospitals, they tell the real story.
And the contrast just couldn't be more stark. I mean, look at this. On one side, you've got the soldier in a trench making $30 a month, and from that, he's often paying for his own insurance. And on the other side, you've got the inside group, safe at home, raking in profits of, get this, nearly 8,000%. Now, for Butler, this wasn't just some abstract theory. A really shocking event would prove just how far these war profiteers were willing to go. It's known today as the business plot.
This is a wild and pretty little-known chapter of American history. Butler goes before Congress and testifies that a group of incredibly powerful financiers who were furious with President Roosevelt's New Deal actually tried to recruit him to lead a military coup and overthrow the U.S. government. You just can't make this stuff up. So what happened? Well, the mainstream press immediately laughed it off. Outlets like Time magazine, which, by the way, had financial ties to some of the guys he named, they just dismissed the whole thing as a fantasy. This headline here, Plot Without Plotters, was basically designed to make Butler look like a nut job and just kill the story.
But here's the thing. Behind closed doors, the Congressional Committee, they came to a very different conclusion. Their final report confirmed that the plot was absolutely real. They said that attempts were discussed and might have been placed in execution. So they totally validated what Butler said, but, and this is the kicker, they redacted the names of all the powerful people involved, basically burying the full story from the public.
Okay, so having laid out the problem and seen firsthand just how dangerous it was, Butler came up with a pretty radical set of solutions. Let's get into Section 3, How to Smash the Racket. Butler's plan was a full-on assault on the whole system. Okay, Step 1, take every last cent of profit out of war. Before you even think about drafting a single soldier, you can script the capital. Every CEO, every politician, every banker, they'd all make the same $30 a month as a private in the trenches. Step 2, let the people who have to fight be the only ones who get to vote on going to war. Simple as that. And finally, Step 3, force the military into a purely defensive role. Make it illegal for them to fight on foreign soil.
But you know what? Even that incredibly radical plan wasn't enough for him. His ideas kept evolving and they led him to a final, even more extreme proposal. The question is, could it be a true legacy of peace?
Yeah,
He eventually came to believe that even his 3 steps weren't foolproof. Laws can be changed, politicians can be bought off. He realized he needed something permanent, something that couldn't be undone.
So his final, ultimate solution was what he called an amendment for peace, a literal constitutional amendment that would legally chain the military to the homeland. It would flat out prohibit the Army, Navy, and Air Force from operating too far beyond U.S. borders. It's basically an anti-war kill switch written into the very DNA of the country. See, for Butler, regular laws were just too flimsy. Public opinion could be swayed by propaganda. He believed the only absolute guarantee of peace was to make offensive war physically and legally impossible by carving this restriction right into the Constitution itself.
And that's where it leaves us. It's been nearly a century since he wrote this. So in our world of complex global politics and military alliances, is this warning from America's most decorated Marine just some relic of the past? Or is it maybe more relevant now than it's ever been? That's really something to think about.